When you are in Rome, we all know that you do as the Romans do. No doubt about it, and no two ways about it. So whilst you're there, this is a new environment. Yes, we do agree. Hi there, caregivers all over the world and newborn care specialists. Thank you so much for having me on this quick one where we're going to be discussing about the realities of relocating overseas as a care worker. I know that we are in the middle of this big rush where we also need to settle in countries or in places that seem to be more comfortable for us, or that seem to be more rewarding for us and our families, because we are in that era where a lot is happening in Africa. Yes, a lot is also happening in the first world countries, but we are human beings who are wanderers, and we are always in search for greener pastures. Nothing is wrong with that. And I thought, since we have much information in terms of paperwork and rules and regulations, I need to discuss something that hasn't been talked about much. There is no doubt about it. The first big thing that you're going to firstly notice is culture change. And you need to be somebody that is going to be adaptable. You need to really adapt into this new environment so that you can be able to live peacefully, so that you don't feel awkward, so that you don't feel like you are this weirdo or you are this fool amongst everyone, because there's so many differences between us and the first world countries. I'll give an example of how we present ourselves in the dining room, table etiquette, and how do we present ourselves at funerals, in public, and different places. There is a way that they do things that may not seem to be the same way that you were used to or exposed to whilst you're in Africa. And there is nothing wrong with that. It is just a change of environment and a set of different cultures. But now you need to be someone who is going to be moldable, someone who is adaptable, and someone who is going to be teachable, because you being thrown in a very different environment. This is you, a small fish, being thrown in a bigger ocean or in a bigger fish pond. You are going to learn to be very humble. You are going to be forced to be to be humble and have humility. And within that moment, you also need to learn the new skills as much as you can, so that you can blend in with everyone without having any trouble or any problems. As I said, that you need to blend with the community so that life can be so much easier. As silly and stupid as it may sound, you may find yourself being thrust in a place where you need to showcase your dining etiquette, and there you are. You've got nothing, no knowledge whatsoever. You don't even know where to start from. You don't even know what to do. And sometimes such situations can be even so embarrassing. I'll give an example of I used to be in the catering industry. I was in the food industry, and I've had some situations where people well dressed, well spoken, and but you could see that this person is trying to like fake it sometimes, and you'd see that sometimes they'll just come and grab the wrong utensil for whatever they are doing, and not because they're just doing it for fun, but you could actually see that they've got no idea whatsoever what they are doing, and which can be very embarrassing. Let me just add a little bit more on food. Really, you might also find that some people tastes are so different, and they have different kinds of meals that they like. Maybe some of the things you never knew or thought they were edible, they are actually something that some people enjoy to eat. And it is not your duty to be speaking bad about what people's choices are in terms of their food. And if you want to try anything, you can always try, and it is always wiser to try some of the things especially if you know what they are and if you know that they are not going to harm you in any way. Some of the things you can always learn while you're at your own house, so that you can always feel very comfortable to do it when you are in public places. You also, whilst we are there, you also don't judge or shame, as I said, people's food. You don't judge and shame people's like choice of dressing, whatever it is that they also choose to do with their own bodies. You don't body shame people. You don't call people names, and people have a different way of expressing themselves. I know that for sure. Whilst you're in Africa, well, let me rather say, in Africa, it is always so easy for people to take their frustrations upon other people. It is always so easy to blame people because they look like this or they sound like this, and this is not a place for you to be doing that either. And you are not going to be expressing your feelings in hushed tones, in hushed ways, like our voices, and you are going to learn to be very rational. You are not going to be screaming. Even your way of disciplining children, it is going to change tremendously. You are going to stop shouting and hailing all sorts of bad and nasty words and throwing stuff and hitting your kids in public. This is the stuff that we see here in Africa, and sometimes you just look and tend to get shocked, like the kind of audacity or behavior that sometimes parents can actually choose to do, which is like not always like what they also want to do, but it is fueled by our way of living here in Africa. There's so much narcissism, and sometimes you feel like if you don't express yourself that way, you are not going to be heard. And if you don't do things aggressively, or if you don't show your feelings or express yourself aggressively, people are not going to take you seriously. But because now you are in a world that is regarded as first world, it means that a lot of people's minds, they are more advanced, and let's face it, in terms of their language, how they choose to speak to people. Most people are respectful, are kind, understanding, and there are people who know their boundaries. Most people know their boundaries. You will not find a next door neighbor just barging into your house just like that, unannounced, for whatever reasons. There's always a way or a form of communication, and people don't just come into your house for food or just to eat or just to enjoy a meal with you, because people are busy. So there's always boundaries. People dress the way they want, they do whatever it is they want with their body. You're going to notice that it is not going to work for you to be bashing the next door neighbor who has a lot of tattoos upon their face, or a million tattoos within their body. It is not your position to be calling them names or judging them or saying all sorts of things. And this is where you are going to be rewiring your brain. That is that process where you're going to be pliable, moldable. You're going to be molding your brains. I'm not saying you're going to dilute yourself, but you're going to mold your brain so that you are adaptable, so that you fit in within that puzzle piece. Be that piece that is going to fit in perfectly, so that you don't stand out for the wrong reasons, and everything just goes on smoothly with everybody else. You don't feel awkward. Everything is just okay with you. You are also going to notice that there's cultural differences in the way husbands and their wives behave, or how they run their families. I know that here in Africa, we tend to raise boy childs and children differently, in terms of sometimes even favoritism. You'd see that a woman who has girl children tends to have lesser favor than that other woman who has boy children, which is absolute nonsense. We all know that. Whilst you are there, you are not going to be treating your boy child better because you think, oh, I'll send my boy child to better schools and invest in, because he is a better investment than a girl. Everyone is going to be equal within the house. And when it comes to payment of bills, it is also going to be the same thing, as in the husband and the wife are going to be able to rather share the bills so that everyone has a fair share in this way of living, so that nobody is going to end up burning out or suffering from all sorts of diseases like depression or anxiety, because it is actually very unadvisable for a woman to go there and be a stay-at-home wife, unless they have other plans or they do have like business ideas that they can actually do while they're at home and the husband is working. So there's going to be sometimes you'd find that the husband is going to be able to share some roles within the house with the wife, meaning that you are not going to be that African man who's going to say, I only eat food that has been prepared by my wife, or you have to be doing this for me, and expecting a lot of things from the woman. Because mind you, most women were going there and bringing in their dependents, their caregivers, and that job is not as easy as you think. It is a lot of work. And you as a husband, you are going to be that person who's going to stand by your wife and understand her, and also help to and be that captain that is going to help to steer the ship to the right direction as you are sailing in this journey of life, so that you help your partner to reach your final destination in one piece, and also reap what you have sowed eventually. So those are some of the differences that you might find in terms of culture. So there is no job that is going to be said this is for a boy child or this is for a man. Girls are supposed to be washing dishes and their place is only in the kitchen. There's nothing like that. And also another thing is, children are listened to. They are not going to be just really have to pay attention to details about your children, what your children are trying to tell you, what are they trying to communicate with you. You really need to understand them, their needs. It's not that it's not going to be that very backward kind of mentality that we normally partake when we are here in Africa, where we just say, oh, children are supposed to be looked at, not heard, which is very wrong. Which is why you're going to notice that the kids that are there, they are going to seem like they have so many rights. I know we don't like that. Okay, emotional stress. As I said, the caregiving women, most of them are going to be bringing in their families, and meaning that they are going to bring in bringing in their dependents, and the husband is going to spend so much time at home while he's waiting for something big to happen, or even something small that can happen for them in terms of job search and all of that. So caregiving is emotionally taxing. You need to understand this before you make that decision and make that choice. You need to understand that it is emotionally taxing dealing with people who have complex medical issues or complex emotional issues, which is going to emotionally fatigue you, as you are going to be wearing the cap of a caregiver, meaning that you're going to be giving care and compassion the whole day, since the morning that you start your shift until whenever you have to finish your shift. You are not going to be lacking in terms of compassion and care and love as well, and support. By the time you get home, things are not going to be so easy even for your family, because now you're suffering from compassion fatigue. So we all know that if the cycle keeps going on and on and on like that, you're going to eventually suffer from burnout, and you will not run away from feelings of helplessness. You might also have a mental breakdown, feelings of anxiety, feelings which might even grow to depression. So meaning you need to have your own corner that is going to be assisting you and helping you in terms of your emotional growth. If you have your family with you, which is for the better, because your husband and your children are going to be helping in making your life so much easier. That is why we say that chores and responsibilities are going to be divided equally for each and everyone, so that life becomes so easier for everyone. This is a first world country, and we really need to be useful with our time. The mothers that are in care, or maybe it's the fathers that are going to be in care, they're going to be exposed to a lot that is going to be burdening them in terms of their emotional strength. Like I said, you are going to also have to experience some trauma at work. It's not so easy seeing people die, especially if you are just coming into the care world for the first time. You're going to notice or see people that you care for, that you sometimes have grown some bonds with, that you have dearly loved. Now they are dying, and this is one thing that you cannot run away from, and it's going to be causing you traumas as well. And you will also see people maybe being exposed to accidents, depending with which side of care are you. And it is also not a very easy experience. It's also not a very nice experience to actually go through, and illnesses as well, as you are going to be helping with administration of medication, depending exactly also with which department are you going to be in. But for first time carers, it is not so easy, even if you're not going to be administering the medication, but just you noticing and witnessing some of the people that you were caring for falling sick and also dying. It's not such an easy sight. So these are some of the things that you also need to expect while you're there. And here's another thing that I also need to address. It is cultural differences in terms of the care practices. You might find that the policies and care practices there are different from what you are used to, and especially if you are coming from that big switch where you were coming from a different industry altogether, and you've just gotten a chance to dive into care, and this is your first gig, and it's not going as exactly as you thought it would be in terms of whatever it is that you're being exposed to, the cultural practices in the care industry there. Mind you, you need to also understand that care involves a lot of work. It involves even if it is going to be child care, let's say for a newborn care specialist, we all know that you need to be performing duties which from bathing the baby, feeding the baby, coming up with routines and healthy meals, and also stimulating the baby, and all of those appropriate activities that you need to be creating and coming up with for the baby. So it is also the same thing when you are in care, but you are dealing with the elderly. You now, and also diapering the baby, the same role you are going to be undertaking as a baby or a child caregiver is the same role you are going to be undertaking as an elderly caregiver. Although there might be some differences, because some people are going to be able to do certain things by themselves, and they also like their privacy. Everybody wants their own privacy, so there are certain duties that they are going to do for themselves, and they will not allow you to do it for them, and which is something that you also need to respect as well. And then there are going to be areas or places where you are going to be required to bath the person. Sometimes they're bedridden, and you need to be able to bath them. You need to be able to change their diapers in terms of the whole perineal care, and you need to be able to feed them, to change their positions, to rub them, to massage them, and keep them company. And this is not just an easy task, because you're not only looking after one person. You have a certain number of people that you need to be giving the same love, attention, and some of them may be even annoying or irritating, but you really need to do everything professionally, knowing that you are dealing with old age people, and sometimes they are very forgetful, or sometimes they can be a little bit funny and awkward. But if you know why you are there, and it is always the passion that comes first before money. This is something that I need to tell you, because if you are in the gig for the money, you are going to be disappointed, and it's likely for you to suffer from burnout so quickly and easily, and want to drop out or jump out and leave everything altogether. But if you are in it for that compassion, if the compassion is your driving force, it is going to be so much easier for you to withstand all the drama or the pain and most of the things that are nasty things that are going to be happening in care. Believe you me, it's not always so easy. Even if you're a nurse, you will find that it is not going to be so easy for you, because you're going to be, let's say, a junior nurse. You are going to be dealing with the seniors there. The way they also treat you, it might even push you on the verge of quitting, but you always push on because you know why you are there. And especially if the passion is your driving force, it is always so easy for you to withstand. So now you know that these are your duties. There's nothing that you're going to be saying, no, I can't be doing this, or I can't be bathing or washing a man when I'm a woman. Expect that. And if you're a man, expect performing those duties, depending with if the client says they don't want a certain kind of a gender to be, let's say, an opposite gender to be tending to them, especially when they need toileting and all of that, then I understand it, and you also need to understand it. Nothing personal. You don't even need to take it very personal, because this is just a professional environment. You also need to understand the working hours there. Whilst you were in Africa, you were used to maybe a work environment that was a bit more relaxed and more different. You need to understand that there you get paid for what you put in, right? So if you're lazy around, if you are not always there on time, if you're always mooching around and being so useful, that is exactly what you're going to get at the end of the month. And you also need to know that there are some people who are actually struggling, who are suffering to get more work, more working hours. So if you find yourself in a position where you actually have 12 hours, or where you are going to have like between 35 or 37 to 40 hours, you need to be very grateful with those hours. Per week, you need to be very grateful, because some people are actually failing to push until they, right? Having more hours as well is going to help you to get paid that money that you have budgeted for. So meaning you need to also have a proper budget. Things are going to be very different there. Accommodation overseas is very expensive, you need to understand. And sometimes going to a place that seems to be very cheaper in terms of rentals, sometimes it's not going to be the cheapest or wisest decision, because when we are in Africa, we normally look at those bad, dilapidated areas that we call the ghetto or the hood, and we think, oh, those are the places that we can actually afford to go and stay there. But overseas, it may not be the best idea. Even in South Africa, it is not actually the best idea, because cheaper is usually more expensive in the long run. Is it going to be convenient for you in terms of traveling? How much transport are you going to be using? Money transport are you going to be using? Is it safe for you as well? Whilst you are overseas, is it going to be a very safe journey for you traveling to work and like back and forth if you're staying far away? So it is always best for you to make the best choices that are going to also help you to get the results at the end of the day. Lastly, let's talk about boundaries in terms of money. You need to get this idea off your head that says that whenever you go overseas, you're going to have lots of money, or maybe you're going to be plucking money from the trees. It's not like that. So you need to be very clever when it comes to money. Those long hours, they are basically going to show you that there isn't much of a social life. So you have to understand that when people are not speaking to you, they are not ignoring you. They are very long hours, and it's very draining. Whenever they have that gap to rest, they really need to relax. So you have to understand, and time differences as well. So you also need to understand one thing as well. Money how to serve your money. Money does not grow on trees in European countries or in first world countries. We need to come out or get out of that notion. When people don't send you money or don't give you money, it doesn't mean that, or they are refusing with their money. No, it's not like that. It is not very easy, and you need to understand. That was such a quick marathon. I hope I served you well, because I prepared something that was very special and nice, but then I lost the whole footage and I had to restart again. I'm so annoyed. But anyway, if you are one of those people who are trying to dip your toes into the care world from wherever you're coming from, and you want to give it a try and you don't even know where to start from, please don't feel shy. Do get in touch, because I and my team, we have created some very fancy and nice packages for you. If you are starting from scratch and you want to join the care industry, we have some packages that you can actually pick from and try it out and see what works best for you and make a choice. We are always happy to help you. And if you have figured everything out and you just need, all you need is help in terms of applications, getting to your papers to be moving faster, also get in touch. There's also a package for you. So for all those who don't know me, my name is Thuli Mlalazi. I'm a mom, I'm a future nurse, and I am a life and career coach. I'm also an educator. I really love teaching people. Do get in touch, and see you on the next one. Oh, by the way, the link is down on the description box. Do get in touch.